Hi, this is Robert Bettinelli. This is assignment number 4 for MDEV1005, the Create a Flutter application. Just letting you know that I've completed the application as requested. My application contains 4 files: main, router, weather, and calculator. The main application is the page that has the links to the router and the weather, as well as a welcome and a image. The weather is an API request for weather for the selected city, and the calculator is basically a very simple first entry, second entry adder. I will now run the application and we'll take a quick look at it. This will take a moment to compile and execute. It will open in Chrome. Okay, here's my Flutter application. Here's my welcome at the top. Welcome to my page with a Tron IO tower displayed image, as well as the weather and calculator linkages. Basic web page, and when I click weather, it brings it to the weather. What it does will automatically default to Barrie, Ontario, and display the information unless I put an alternate city in, and it will display the city. Click to home to bring it back to the main page. If you click calculator, it'll bring it to a basic calculator. I'll go through each of the functionality just for a moment. So if I go weather, right now it shows Barrie. If I put Toronto in and I click weather, it shows the Toronto weather. It'll pretty much do any city that you request. The second is the calculator. You enter a first number and a second number and hit calculate, and what it'll do is it'll display the first number plus the second number equals the total, and it also gives you a link to go home. You can do this any number of times that you want. That is the accumulation of the requirements for a 3-page Flutter application. Now I'll go through a little bit of the application coding itself. All the documentation is listed within the app itself. Nothing too major, but just to give you some heads up. Basically, we're using the material Dart, the Go router that was supplied to us, and I also included a router.dart file that has the router linkages in there. On the application, it has my Flutter welcome and a few different strings for the buttons and such. And it's pretty straightforward. As it displays the welcome, it displays the graphic, and then it has the buttons to the routers for weather and calculator, that's that page. My router file is basically the router file that you supplied to us with a few modifications, and I isolated it into its own file to make it easier to modify and to build onto later on. My weather application works basically the same way as the previous ones for my APIs did. It uses the same open weather API and my key, and basically this get weather data code was provided by the API itself generally. All I had to do was build a scaffolding, which was the title, the entry for the city, and applies the value to it. All the custom documentation is within there. It has a few buttons for running the function and displaying the data, as well as the linkage to go back home. Same with the calculator. It's basically run the same way. It has the number 1 controller and number 2 controller variables. Allows you to run the function add numbers that calculates the result. And as you enter the information for the first number and the second number, it'll then run the function, creates the result, and if the result is something to display, then it'll display the information as provided. It also has the on pressed for the button to go back home. Very simple application, very concise and to the point. Other requirements was my document that I produced with planning, implementation, widgets and API, and some roadblocks, which will be included in my application, assignment submission, and as well as the the GitHub, which I listed here. I completed the application about 2 weeks ago. I'm just adding the video now, and it has all the markings and everything like that. There is the linkage, but I'll be providing that in the submission, and it is on my documentation as well. If you have any questions or comments, please just feel free to email me. Otherwise, that is my application for submission. Thank you very much.